Hey folks, Johnny the Realtor here in San Antonio, Texas, talking another topic. So, this one is actually something close and dear and near and the best to me, and that is my Southeast side roots. So, a lot of times realtors will talk about market updates and stuff like that. I like talking about that stuff, but I also like talking about this fun stuff. And I like talking to people about my background. I like hearing about people's background. I like learning from people. And so I wanted to show you where I grew up. And I want to hear from my Southeast side family. I want to hear from other people that lived on the Southeast side here in San Antonio. I want to hear what your memories are. So without further ado, here we go. I lived here, guys, on this little street for 26 years. And this is my life. My mom, my sister, and I would come walking through this way, headed towards Hot Wells. Hot Wells is actually right over there at that exit. You're looking at Highway 37 right now, but the 36 used to pass by at 4:45 in the morning, the 36 bus. And man, my mom had us out there walking through here in the middle of the night. It was really crazy. I would ride my bike through here. There was actually a fence here a long time ago. I don't know where it went. So I can't show you my house for legal reasons because it's no longer my house, but I did grow up right here. We actually are passing it up right now. Very special to me. I sold it last year in 2022. So I can talk to you about this though. I can give you some chisme about this area. This is Coney and Pyle, folks, right here at this grass area right here. Lots of crazy memories here. My sister got into a fight here when I was a kid in middle school, and yeah, that was pretty crazy. My mom actually used to walk through here sometimes when she would take the bus 34 on Goliad Road. And so she would power walk, and we would be really embarrassed. We'd be like, hey, mom. And yeah, we would just kind of. But I got to tell you about a freaky memory, guys. You know, some weird stuff happens sometimes. Like, I know my Southeast side family will back me up on this. Like, we're kind of just like, we just kind of go with things sometimes. This was pretty scary though. It was a day after Halloween. It was November 1st. I want to say maybe 1989, 1990. My friend Faustino would walk this way every morning and we'd all be standing here. There was about 5 or 6 of us. And we couldn't really see each other because it was out in the dark. It was really late, or it was really early in the morning when we would take that bus. It was a bus that took us to Connell Middle School, where I went to middle school. And so I remember looking at Faustino and thinking like, what is that on the street? Like right here in the middle of the street. Folks, I'm not making this up. It was a pig's head, an actual pig's head. And Faustino, being him, grabs it by the orejas and starts swinging it like to taunt us. And he brings it up to us. And we're like, what is that? Like, what the hell is that? Yeah, it was a day after Halloween. So, you know, some freaky deaky shiznits was going on. So a long time ago, this used to be the Whitfield apartments. There are alleyways right here that go to an auto parts store. I used to ride my bike through there. And there's an alleyway right there at Whitfield that I used to always take when I was a kid. I liked driving my bike through alleys or riding my bike through alleys back in the day. I don't ride bikes anymore. Like that would be painful the next day. So yeah. All right. So when I was a kid, I came to work right here at Churches. And let me tell you, folks, it did not go well at all. So I used to work there for a guy named Pablo Herrera. He was a really cool guy, really nice man. And he gave me a job when people wouldn't because I was very shy and introverted. And so he always tried to tolerate me. But he would stick me in the freezer because I didn't like to talk to people because I was very introverted and very shy. And so on Sundays, he would have me clean the vat. Okay, so my people that might work at Churches or might work at these places, you might be able to help us understand the technical terms. I'm going to try and describe it as best as I can, what I used to do on Sundays. So I would have to turn a valve off, and then I had this long stick, kind of like when someone steals a car, like that long stick that's really thin that they put through the windshield. It was something like that. It looked like a sword. And I would have to scrape the manteca off this long cylinder object. And then I would put it back in, and that was it. One time, I forgot to turn the valve off, and all the manteca, all the oil, all the grease, everything went flying out into the lobby. Yeah, I didn't come back to work the next day. Pablo didn't want me back, folks. It happens, right? I would have been a much better chicken cook today. But yeah, And I know this area really well too. Wow, that Family Dollar is not there anymore. I wonder when that happened. I actually sold a really good friend of mine a house nearby here. It's a really up and coming area, remodeling houses and whatnot. Okay, so when I was a kid, I used to ride my bike up Whitfield and then come behind this Hamilton Motors, which, by the way, that Fidelity Finance sign, it's been there since I was a kid. So I would ride back here. There was no fence back then, so you could freely drive through here or ride your bike through here. So I used to work on bikes all the time. One time, I forgot to put the screw on correctly on that bike, on that tire. You know what happened. You already know what happened. So there's a bump right here, and it looks like the bump is still there, so that's crazy. I came through this bump right here, and when I went up, the tire flew off. And I was a very big guy, folks. I was huge. I flew fast forward down the hill. And when I think I've landed okay, the bike comes behind me and falls on my neck. It's a miracle that I was okay. I was in a lot of pain though. But I didn't have time to think about the pain because that tire went rolling onto a very busy Goliad road. And I had to pick up that tire like in front of everybody, and they're all looking at me like, what the hell just happened? Very, very embarrassing. Yeah, memories, folks. This used to be a transmission shop a long time ago. So right here is Neptune's, and I remember Neptune's Seafood. That used to be an attorney's office a long time ago. I'm going to challenge your memory, though. My Southeast Side family, if you are authentically from the Southeast Side, you will know that a long time ago, this used to be Fish and Pier. And so I see that it says Kenny's Burgers right now. My sister actually used to work for Neptune's, but she used to work for Neptune's when it was right here, before it moved over here. This was actually the third time it had moved, at least in my memory. Maybe y'all can correct me. But his name was Kenny, so I assume Kenny still owns both properties. Kenny was her boss at Neptune's. Y'all know that used to be a Whataburger back in the day. And see, there's Coney Avenue, so I used to ride my bike this way as well, too. This pawn shop seems like it's always been there. So a long time ago, this family thrift center used to be a Wynn's, and I used to love going there. Now, this family thrift center actually used to be over here where it is now Dollar Tree. So yeah, I actually went there recently when I was buying stuff to rent out or to handle my rental. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you again, my Southeast Side family, especially if you've lived in this area for a long time. If you are authentically Southeast Side, you will know that there used to be a boat right here, a huge boat restaurant, okay? That was the Neptunes that I was used to seeing when I was a little kid. I'm fixing to make Kenny cry right now with nostalgia because my memory is insanely vivid. So I'm going to give you some more vividness here. Right here, this concrete, a long time ago, used to have shells, like little shells embedded in the concrete. I remember because I used to wait at this bus stop, and I always used to go over there and try and pop those shells out. So yeah, sorry, Kenny. Yeah, guys, my memory is insane. Yes, it is very insane. So then this used to be a mega warehouse, but before that it was like a Texas something or other. A Texas, I can't quite remember. But yeah. Okay, another Southeast Side staple a long time ago. I know Ron's Jewelers has always been there, but Bolero, if I'm saying it right, Bolero, used to be Ponderosa Bowling Alley. Ponderosa, guys. Beautiful, amazing 80s memories for me. I have never forgotten that because my cousin Roland and I used to go to Foster Elementary for one particular summer. I think it was like 1989. And we used to come to this Ponderosa and play video games. The best, most amazing Sega video games of the 1980s. I will never forget that. So you might be wondering why my memory is so good. So I'm actually a historian. I have 3 college degrees in history. I taught for a college and a high school for about 13 years. And I decided that I wanted a career change, so I became a realtor, and I love it. I love helping people. I love listening to people. And yeah, a little tidbit about me. So this this is Kate Shank. I know it's gotten quite the renovation. The kid from ET actually went there. He He said he was bullied or he had a bad experience here and he eventually left. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure. Okay, so guys, Skateland, Carvel Skateland. Is it still called Carvel? I would love to know the answer to that. This used to be Carvel Skateland when I was a kid. I used to love going there and watching like the older kids, like the high schoolers, they had their long hair, the female had their long hair, sprayed hair up to as high as it could go. And the boys were shaved right here and they had long hair all the way down. True story. Look it up. And I used to love watching them because they knew how to dance and they knew how to move. And I'd say, man, someday I'm going to be like that. Like, I knew how to skate really well, but I wanted to be like them. I said, someday I'm going to be like that. Screw that, guys. Like, I'm 45 years old now. I would break my back. I would break my back. Let's go with that. I would break my back if I tried to skate like those kids did back in the day. But amazing times, beautiful times. So a long time ago, I used to get, it's still there, Rios Barbacoa. I used to get Rios Barbacoa from right there as well too. That goes extremely well with Big Red San Antonio. Well, now that I'm older, it goes good with coffee, but well, coffee and grease, I don't know about that. But I used to go to this Taqueria Guadalajara. Yeah, I used to go there too back in the day. I'm going to challenge you once again, folks. So if you are from the southeast side, you know that a long time ago, this Shangri-La used to be called Lotus Restaurant. And I don't know what happened, but he sold and it went to somebody else and it became a very different restaurant. But I will tell you this, when it was Shangri-La, I did go there in the early 2000s. We kept going. I remember because my mom and my friend Josh and I would come here every Saturday night. We would get our plate. It was a lemon chicken plate, which never changed recipe. It was so good. And we would go home and watch Cheaters. Yeah, Cheaters is on Pluto now. If you want to see fake stories, I assume it's fake. Y'all can argue that. So a long time ago, this is kind of where the road would just kind of die out right here. A long time ago, back in the 80s. So this Gold's Gym used to be an H-E-B back in the day. And if you look at it carefully, it really looks a lot like the old H-E-Bs. There was only three things here, folks, back in the day. There was a H-E-B, and then there was a Kmart right here, where Big Lots is at today. I believe Big Lots is still there. And then you had a Burger King at the end. Three places. That's all I remember from back then. It was H-E-B, Kmart, and Burger King. And they were all very separated. They were all very in their own different areas. But then eventually, oh, and you know what? There was actually a Handy Dan right here. Handy Dan, it was like a Home Depot. It was very popular back in the 80s. So this was kind of like the fringes of the area. Like, I remember this. If you came over here, you were kind of like far. You were a little too far out if you came this way. I'm going to challenge your memory again, folks. I'm going to challenge you. Let's see how good you are with your memories. So, wow, what the hell's going on with that street bench? Wow, if y'all take the bus, you better avoid that bench. Look at that. There are some very pissed off birds. Okay, so I'm going to challenge your memory. If you are officially Southeast Side authentic, you know that a long time ago, this Easy Pond used to be a Grandy's restaurant. I will never forget that because I had the worst stomach ache because I got a biscuit and a lot of gravy, and that did not settle well, folks. That did not settle well. Okay, so yeah, this was the fringes, guys. This was nothing back in the 80s. This was monte, this was grass, this was trees. There was nothing out here. The streets were already here, but it was dead. Like it was crazy dead. But you know, all it takes is one place. In this case, it was H-E-B. H-E-B moved across the street. Then Target took notice. Then all these places, Home Depot came over here. And then all of a sudden, Brook City Base became Brook City Base. But before, this was nothing. And the growth is so exponential here. There's a lot of new houses back here where my clients want to go look at homes. There's a lot of new homes, even this way toward the east side. I actually used to live in Pecan Valley Heights the last 10 years that I was on the southeast side. So it's crazy. I left the southeast side in 2012, and it's just insane how much the area has grown. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot going on over there. Okay, So this is it for today, guys. I'm going to continue coming to you, talking to you about my Southeast side roots. I love this conversation. I want to know if you know anything about these areas. So just to give you a little bit of quick feedback, I went to Forbes Elementary for 1 year. That was in 5th grade. I was there in 1989. And then I went to Connell Middle School from 89 to 92. And then from 92 to 96, I went to Highlands High School. So yeah, we might know each other. I would love to hear if we do. Can you believe my memory? Like I'm tossing out the years thinking, wow, John, how do you know this crap? Yeah. Okay. So folks, I want to hear what you think. Chime in, give us some feedback. I am so happy I got to talk to you about this. Feedback welcome. Comments welcome. Until next time, folks, take care.